All fucking righty, guys. Just Sunstrider here, and I am super excited to be recording this video today. And y'all probably saw the title and thumbnail before you started watching. I got accepted into the DoJRP Media team, which, yes, it is different from ImmersionRP, because ImmersionRP was just like a spur of the moment thing. I guess like a couple of months at this rate. I've been a member of ImmersionRP to get in and I guess kind of scratch my FiveM itch, my FiveM recording itch. But I'm not going to leave ImmersionRP just because I'm a member of DoJ, although it has been a little difficult to get content for ImmersionRP because ImmersionRP prime time kind of lines up with my typical recording time, and that causes conflicts because, say, if I plan to do multiplayer with the boys in like Phasmophobia or something, then obviously I can't go do ImmersionRP because it wouldn't be very respectful to Sif and Wraith if I already pre-made plans to play with them that night and just bail on them for FiveM. So it's been a little difficult, which is why I'm been a little bit short on ImmersionRP content. But regardless, this is DoJRP. This is the community that I have been a part of since February of last year. And it's kind of funny because I am actually a returning member to DoJRP. I was once a member only for like a couple of months back in like 2018, 2019. But I was still in high school. So my time management skills were not the best, to say the absolute least. And I underestimated the sheer amount of effort that goes into a community like this. With the patrol logs and activity requirements, all that stuff, so I wasn't able to keep up. Because I was only like 18, 19 years old when I first joined, and it really just didn't work out. I tried talking with a member of COC back then, this is not the right lane, and they recommended that I do like an LOA instead of just leaving, but I never got around to it and I kind of just faded into obscurity. And I just let my idle time expire to be, I guess, passively removed from the community, so it's not like I left on bad terms, which is why at the end of 2021 probably, I decided to try again. I was graduated from university, I had started a part-time job, and I was overall more confident in my time management skills that I could actually put forth a proper effort into the community and actually be a contributing member. So at the end of 2021, I started trying to apply, but I didn't get accepted again until the January recruitment cycle of 2022. And it's kind of funny, my rejoin date landed exactly on February 1st. So getting my 1 year of service badge wasn't that difficult, at least. And ever since then, I've stuck to it. And here I am, just over a year later, joining the media team. And this is the community that I used to talk about a lot. Like, all the time. I'd always mention it. Oh, FiveM-RP, DoJRP. I hope I get media this recruitment cycle. Well, apparently third time's the charm. And here I am, being able to record and stream and all that stuff. And if you guys watched the ImmersionRP introductory episode, this introductory episode for DoJ is going to be structured pretty much exactly the same. Now, when I did rejoin the community, I kind of suffered the same problem that I suffered when I joined back in 2018, and even in ImmersionRP, is that I had no idea what to do with myself in server. I would get in server, drive around for 2 hours, maybe get 2 traffic stops, and leave feeling very unfulfilled. Like, I felt like I wasn't contributing a whole lot. But then I started seeing little advertisements pop up on the screen for things like 24/7 or G6. And it's like, huh, that's strange. Well, what are these businesses doing? So I did some digging and I discovered civilian business organizations, which a lot of the in-universe businesses like G6, Ammu-Nation, Merryweather, and all that stuff are officially established joinable businesses within the Civ department. Think of it kind of like the Civ department's version of subdivisions for an LEO department. You get into an LEO department, you pass your probationary phase, and then you can join, traffic enforcement or SID or something like that. You don't have to, but it's encouraged, which is exactly the same thing with Civ. You don't have to join businesses, you don't have to join criminal organizations, because a lot of the in-universe criminal organizations are officially established just like civilian businesses. So you have like the Lost MC, the Vagos, etc., etc. You don't have to, but it's encouraged to help expand the RP and give Civ something to do that's not just criminal or deviant RP. Give them like some passive business stuff to do. And that's exactly what I did. The first business I ever joined was Los Santos Transit to be a cab driver, and it all just snowballed from there. It went from Los Santos Transit, Ammu-Nation, G6, and I think at the time of recording this, I am a member of 8 or 7 official businesses, 2 official criminal organizations, and 1 official criminal or unofficial criminal organization, which leads me to the next point of this introductory episode. What can you guys, the viewers, expect from me as a DoJRP media partner? Now, just a disclaimer, I'm not becoming a FiveM only streamer or anything like that. I may look like that, or GTA only streamer, because of all the LSPDFR, ImmersionRP, and now DoJRP that I'm going to be doing. Leg spike, why? Okay, apologies about that, fellas. FiveM actually decided to crash. But as I was saying, this leads me to the next part of this introductory episode. What you guys can expect from me as a DoJ media partner. And that is when I first joined and snowballed into a bunch of business RP stuff. I've only ever done 3 priorities before in this community ever since rejoining in February. And I don't really like doing priorities for the sake of doing them. And one of the criminal organizations that I ended up joining later on in my, I guess, quote-unquote career, as weird as that is to say, with DOJs, they use the term story RP, and I've kind of adapted that term with a combination of both scene-based and life RP. Because DOJ is primarily a scene-based community, meaning that we do not have... People don't have to permadeath their characters. They don't have to RP life sentences, and they can have one character for every department that they're in, and it doesn't have to be different or anything like that. I have a long roster of characters, as you guys will see in the last half of this episode. But I have permadeath characters before. The one thing I don't really do is life sentences, because DoJRP is based off of California. And the California legal system fucking sucks. Right? You can run over a single mother and her child walking down an alleyway and still get out on like a $300 bond later that same day. So, the California legal system sucks, therefore the DoJRP legal system sucks. Not like the actual RP itself. It just means that there's no such thing as a life sentence in San Andreas for the purposes of DoJRP. So, although some officers may threaten with a life sentence or anything like that, I do RP waiting a couple days to use characters again. right? Like, if a character gets hospitalized or arrested, I stop using them for that patrol and just move on to something else, or just log out of server for the day, and then it takes maybe a week, 2 weeks at most for me to use that character again to just RP out, recovering from their injuries or serving their jail sentence. But I don't do life sentences. That if I'd RP life sentences, all of my criminal characters would never be able to be used again, and I don't like that idea. Although it does happen in real life, this is just the game, so I don't have to be perfect about it. And that's the excuse that I'm sticking with. Because if I were to do that, then my main criminal character now would have multiple life sentences like 3 times over because of the amount of shit she's done. But for the sake of keeping the story going and, keeping the story between my characters and LEO alive and all that stuff, I don't do life sentences. I only permadeath, which I have permadeath characters before, both in DoJ and ImmersionRP, as you guys must have saw with the episode of the late Scarlet Hillcrest getting into a shootout with police and passing away. So the actual meat itself, the actual content itself, and what you guys can actually expect. I mostly do business RP. As I said previously, I've only ever done like 3 priorities, only because I just got the rank to do priorities. And like, yeah, I'll do one just to see what it feels like, and it without a story and a purpose beforehand, it doesn't. I mean, they're fun, but I prefer to have proper reasoning for it. Like, one of the priorities that I did a string of robberies during a Sandy Shores AOP. There was only like 5 cops in server, and I did a string of robberies, gave them a little bit of investigation. They eventually caught me, and I did a vehicle pursuit, which ended in me getting caught. So, something like that. Having actual meat behind the priority. Now, I don't know what other people do and what other people RP. I don't know what their characters have been through or what their reasonings are for. But I don't really rely on priorities. I rely on business RP. So a vast majority of my DOJ content will be business RP. Although I have been getting more and more into criminal RP because of an unofficial criminal organization called the Banners, more on that later, that I was kind of inadvertently dragged into, thanks to a civ called David F. Again, more on that later, but he kind of dragged me into criminal RP. So on that happy note, that is really all for the introductory part. Now, if you guys watched my ImmersionRP episode, where I go through all the characters and stuff, well, this will be exactly the same, although it's probably going to be 3 times as long because I have a long list of characters. And I'll probably just go in alphabetical order. Let me just pull over in the middle of an intersection here and show you guys my characters. Friggin' F6 menu. There are options, MP pick, customization, saved characters, civilians. These are all my characters, so it's going to take a hot second to get through all of these. And I'm doing this in an empty server just so I can teleport around to different houses and business point of interests and all that stuff. So without further delay, let's move on to part 2 of my introductory episode of introducing all of the characters. Alrighty, so first on the list of characters is Ajay Deck. Now, this character has an interesting origin. He's not the first character I made, but back when I rejoined the community last year, they introduced something called Civ Advanced Training, which teaches new members of the civilian department how to do priorities, gang RP, and animal RP, and more advanced stuff like that. Well, in order to do that, we had to make an impromptu gang character and do a couple of mock scripted gang scenes. And well, I made Ajay Deck during my Civ Advanced training did a couple of scenes, but I wasn't really interested in doing criminal RP back then because I didn't know that criminal organizations were a legitimate thing back then. I just thought people just RP'd Lost MC and Ballas just cuz. So after doing the Civ Advanced training, I was stuck with a saved character and nothing to use him for. So I ended up going into the clothing options, making it less Vagos, because we had to make a Vagos character, so he was wearing a bunch of yellow. So I went in, made it a little bit more generic, less gang-related option. Less gang-related options? I mean, options for clothing, I guess, but less gang-affiliated. And I was looking to join another business, and I have a blank template, which means that AJ Jack was perfect for G6 security. So AJ Deck is my G6 character. I am a senior guard with Gruppe 6 security, which means that I can wear the t-shirt, like the more comfortable t-shirt, and I can drive a plethora of vehicles, including that Taurus that's parked outside, along with like a Charger and a Vic and all that other fancy stuff. G6 is also one of the few people in DOJ that can actually open carry a firearm, because DoJRP has no open carry laws. You can only like concealed carry, except for law enforcement, obviously, Merryweather, and Gruppe 6. And I think some other businesses can get away with it. Like, I know I open carry all the time when I play as Ammu-Nation, and people don't really care because it's a gun store. Like, come on now. I'm gonna fucking open carry a defensive firearm when I'm working at a gun store. I'm sorry, I don't care. But G6 is definitely one of my favorite businesses to patrol as. Definitely in the top 3. It's a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool people playing as G6. The COC is actually very friendly and all that stuff. And actually, a fellow media member, Mega Mango, actually owns G6 security. He's G6-1, so if y'all have ever seen him patrolling on Twitch or something, then yeah, kind of neat. And as much fun as G6 is to patrol as, we do get targeted a lot for being mall cops, of course. I try to be as humble as I can when playing as AJ Deck and G6, just because I know people want to just get a reaction out of us because they know that we don't have a lot of authority, and if they can push us over the edge, they can get us arrested. Because we're just mall cops with the guns, essentially. But it's still a lot of fun. G6 actually has contracts with all other businesses in the community. We even have a mutual aid contract with Merryweather, so we can go on transports and escorts with them, which is really fucking cool. So yeah, there you go. G6 security and AJ Deck. Moving on to the next character then. Alrighty, next on the list is Conrad Resnov. Now, Conrad Resnov's life has been definitely complicated over the past few months. You see, he used to be my Sovereign Citizen character. As much as I hate Sovereign Citizen videos on YouTube because they make me cringe so much, I decided to try out just, RPing a Sovereign Citizen. He used to own an unregistered Roosevelt with the plate Sovereign on it. Just kind of screw with the cops, see how they respond with kind of deviant, passive resisting, but not like aggressively resisting RP. And none of them was having any of it. Which, to be fair, that's how you're supposed to handle Sovereign Citizens. Just don't buy into any of their garbage. But I never really had any opportunities to flesh out the Sovereign Citizen RP because it would always end the same way. I kind of got sick of it after a while. So Conrad Resnov decided to turn a new leaf. Not in the way that some would expect, but instead of being a Sovereign Citizen, he is now a hang-around with the Lost Motorcycle Club. He decided to cut the shit. He got himself a proper license. He registered a motorcycle in his name. And he ended up joining up with the Lost MC just so we could have like actual purpose in life instead of just running around pretending to be a part of the Free Travelers League or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves nowadays. So the Lost MC was the second criminal organization I ever joined, and I have to say that I have not been able to patrol as much as Lost MC as I want to. Oh dear, hello menu. And being a hang around, I'm pretty much the bitch boy for the Lost MC, obviously. It was actually watching that soda pop on YouTube and Twitch, which got me interested in the Lost MC, because he's a prospect, so he can like wear like the full marked vest and all that stuff, and he has a sponsor and all that. And I'm just a bitch boy. I'm just sit around, get yelled at all the time. Although I haven't actually patrolled with other members of the Lost MC yet. Hopefully I can start doing that within the next couple of months. I really want to get more involved with the criminal organizations that I joined. Just to also gives more variety of content, just so I'm not always being a goody two-shoes playing by the rules all the time with my business RP. So I'm not very good at criminal RP, alright? I'm not good with coming up with creative shit on the spot, which is why I relied on business RP for so long. But yeah, just a hang around with the Lost MC. Hopefully I'll be able to actually hang around with other members instead of just doing my own thing. One thing I like to do is I set up a, right over there by that burnt out truck that I was pointing at, I like to set up an impromptu shooting range with like traffic cones or something and start just popping off shots to piss off the cops or something. That's what the Lost Fully Patched member told me when I was doing my induction into the Lost MC. One thing they really like to do is just do impromptu shooting range stuff to piss the hell out of the cops in the outside the compound and all that. Because that gate, even though that gate's technically automated, we do RP it as locked, and I think there's actually a new lock script in, so I can like walk up to it and like press L. Aha! I can. So actually, it is locked now. So LEOs wouldn't be able to just walk in here like they own the place, because they'd probably get berated by local Lost MC members if they did. And yeah, hopefully I could just flesh out the story a little bit more and get more meat to this character right now, because Sovereign Citizen RP didn't work out, so I'm looking to do other stuff. But with that out of the way, there's really not much else to talk about because I haven't had an opportunity to do very expansive RP with this character and the Lost MC just yet. Hopefully in the future I can, but that is it for Conrad here. Oh, right. Next up is Fairhaven. Fairhaven started off as a criminal character, but then changed to a civ/business character around the time when I first joined. Because right after second time I joined, back in February. Because when I rejoined back in February, we were making the switch from the Portal CAD to Sonoran CAD. And Sonoran CAD is a little tedious to work with. You didn't have as much freedom with the Portal CAD as you did with the Sonoran CAD, because you'd have to go through Civ SIT just to change any aspect of any character or delete characters or vehicle registrations or anything like that. It really wasn't Civ friendly. It was more so for LEO to have a more immersive CAD. But then we switched back to Portal CAD, which gives more freedom and all that. And Fairhaven actually started out as a single-player criminal ped. Because I don't want to say that he was going to be a throwaway character. That, if he dies doing criminal stuff, then it's whatever. But he was kind of one of those characters. But then we switched to Sonoran CAD, so I decided to give him a single-player ped and join probably the biggest civ business in the entire community, which of course is none other than AC's highway clearance. This is definitely one of my favorite businesses to RPS because it's just non-stop action. It takes about 10-20 minutes for things to pick up on a bad day, but it's like back-to-back fucking calls just because of how busy DOJ servers are. Unlike ImmersionRP, we don't have a fancy tow script or anything. You can't lower the bed of the vehicles, which kind of sucks. I guess it's not really immersive. Get it? Okay, whatever. But that's kind of a good thing because if I'd have to fiddle around with a freaking proper tow script with how many calls I get, it'd be so fucking slow trying to get between calls. At least, like, I still RP towing the vehicle and lowering the bed and all that stuff, but I don't actually have to physically walk up to the control panel and use my keyboard bindings to actually, like, lower the bed, attach the winch, and bring it back up like I do in Immersion. And DOJ is pretty much you just walk up to a car / tow and there you go, it shows up on the flatbed. And then for the Phantom, there's like a big 18-wheeler flatbed trailer, truck and trailer. That's attached trailer. I learned that the hard way. But yeah, it's definitely a very populated business. You can have upwards to like 10 fucking Casey's members on in a single server at a time. It gets pretty crazy. But that's because there's a lot of calls that go out when Casey's is active. And most of the time, if there's only 1 or 2 operators on, they've stacked like 3+ calls in a row. I know I've done that sometimes. And if I were to go into the Civ business operations Discord, there's like a little request fellow employee role that people can ping if they want help or want to like create scenes for other businesses to get involved in. But Casey's definitely uses that role a lot to get extra tow operators on in order to help fill the backlog of calls and make things operate more smoothly. And not only do we do tow stuff, we also do mechanic stuff. My last Casey's patrol, I ended up spending 2 hours doing vehicle maintenance for LEO vehicles, oil changes, and all that fun stuff. Yeah, definitely a lot to do in Casey's Highway. Definitely a very fun business to do. And as a random secondary topic, Fairhaven is also my off-road enthusiast character. He owns a unregistered dune buggy and unregistered Manchester Scout that he likes to drive around in the county. So we may have some off-roading episodes, just like in ImmersionRP with Jesse Contra, I believe. It's my off-road enthusiast in Immersion. Fairhaven is my off-road enthusiast in DOJ, and it just so happens that he has a proper, legitimate job to help support his hobby. But regardless of that, we'll move on to the next character. Alright, next up here is Jackson Mills. Now, he's actually the first character I ever made. He's also the character that joined the first ever business organization that I joined. But it's kind of, he was at first just kind of like a wild card character. I just drive around, get into a couple traffic stops, maybe engage in a couple businesses, like if a 24/7 was open or something. It's kind of very basic stuff like this. He started out with this Phoenix here. This is his primary vehicle, the green Phoenix, olive gasoline green Phoenix. That's his main vehicle. Then I actually bought this motorcycle from Los Santos. No, not Premium Deluxe Motorsport. They were active in the county at Larry's RV. And this was actually like, I guess, a clearance motorcycle because it used to belong to a member of the Lost MC who died, and then his bike got repossessed by Premium Deluxe Motorsport or something. So it used to have a Lost MC livery on it, but I spawned the one without the livery to RP, taking it off and all that stuff because I don't want to be associated. This character doesn't want to be associated with that. But that's also why he has gloves on. That's his motorcycle riding gloves. And he also has a helmet on that I took off, obviously, for the purpose of the introduction and all that. Because DOJ has a cool little system that you could do /hat, remove different parts of clothing for different roleplay purposes, and there's also a little scroll wheel here. If I press the Y button, I can also remove individual components like this. So if I'm like having difficulties spelling gloves for some reason, I can just open up this and then do gloves. Click on the gloves, and then there you go, the gloves get taken off. Then I can put them back on again. So it's kind of neat like that. And it only works with multiplayer characters. It doesn't work with single player characters, unfortunately, but that makes sense. But the first business that I'm talking about that this character joined is none other than Los Santos Transit. More specifically, Downtown Cab Company. Considering that Downtown Cab Company is a subsidiary of Los Santos Transit, I had to join Los Santos Transit to do Downtown Cab Company RP. But the cool thing with LST is that they have a lot of subsidiary companies. They have Downtown Cab Company, Fly US, San Andreas Tourism Board. There's something for everybody here in Los Santos Transit. And I'm only saying that because I'm actually a junior staff member for Los Santos Transit. So, kind of doing my due diligence there. Now, this is the first company I joined, and the first company I ended up getting staff positioned for. I am on the supervisory board for Los Santos Transit, which means that I just kind of help new members of the company with any questions. And I also just help rep the business, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, which is why I said there's a lot of subsidiary companies and and every something for everybody. But I did Los Santos. I only did Downtown Cab Company for LST for the longest time. And there were some days where I drive around for 2 hours driving in a circle, not doing a whole lot of anything. But that's because Downtown Cab Company really does rely on other civs in order to get actual taxi calls. It's not like you can drive around the locals. You can't. There's no script for that. But at least I'd have a reason this time for driving around in a circle for 2 hours not doing anything. Is because I was active as Los Santos Transit. There you go. But recently I did start to expand a little bit by means of Fly US World Cargo. So I RP'd this character getting his pilot's license so he could fly around in a Fly US World Cargo plane. This is just a small little cargo plane for, commercial style stuff. Can only hold like a few packages and all that stuff. I don't do passenger airliner stuff just because I don't feel like dealing with passenger airliner RP. World Cargo RP is a lot more just kind of relaxing and just more passive RP options, and it's a lot more relaxing to fly around in the air when you don't have a bunch of people nagging you about your flying or something. I normally stick with World Cargo stuff, so there's maybe some impromptu American Flight Simulator episodes mixed in with all the other stuff for DOJ, which is pretty neat. But that's really everything for Jackson Mills, so let's move on to the next character. Alright, next character on the list is Jax Sunstrider. You may recognize Jax Sunstrider from LSPDFR. He is my BCSO character in LSPDFR, and he kind of looks a little bit different in DOJ, obviously, but that's not the case in DOJ because Jax used to be my Ammu-Nation character, but unfortunately he was caught selling illegal firearms to a bunch of felons, so he ended up getting fired from that job, and he was just a wild-carded character for a while doing unofficial business stuff. Because there are unofficial businesses that anybody can RP as without first going through the official process on the Discord server. So, like, the clothing stores is a big one. I used to do clothing store RP a lot before joining official businesses. And, that's one. I think Bug Stars used to be an unofficial business. They used to be an official business, got disbanded, but I think, from what I've heard from other members of the community, I think McGill Olson Construction is getting it. So it'll be a subsidiary of McGill Olson. So, hey, at least it's coming back to the official business scene, which is kind of neat. So instead of doing, I was thinking about doing a BCSO reserve with this character, but unfortunately, with his arrest record of selling illegal firearms, I wouldn't think that would go over so well. But instead, he ended up getting picked up by the Ballas. The Balla Street Gang was the first business I ever joined because I thought that Jack's being fired from his job at Ammu-Nation would be a cool opportunity to delve into business RP. So he ended up getting picked. So I just RP'd him being picked up by the Ballas when he was at his lowest point. The Ballas offered him a way out of his, I guess, despot position, and here he is. Don't worry about a white guy being part of an African American gang. The gang used to be led by a guy named Xander, who was also white, so don't worry about that. Yeah, the Balla Street Gang kind of suffers from the same problems that the Lost MC does. And because I have so many activity requirements with all the businesses that I'm in, it's been really difficult to try to get in with the Ballas to do more criminal organization RP. I really hope to do it more often, especially now that I'm a media member. I think it'd be really cool for the whole storytelling element for episodes and Twitch streams. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, as I get settled into my DoJRP Media position, I can start doing more stuff with the Ballas and the Lost MC. Until then, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. I have been involved in more stuff with the Ballas than the Lost MC. It's kind of funny. When I first joined the Ballas, the first day I came in, I ended up getting to a fist fight with some members of the Family Street Gang, who were trespassing on Balla turf. Like, they were arguing with the OGs, hands started flying, I just jumped the fence and started beat down as well. And then I also helped the now late Xander Gemini, who used to be the leader of the Ballas, who sadly passed away a couple months ago. I helped him and Lilith, who also passed away, who was kind of like the second in command of the Ballas because she was married to Xander. I helped them torch a family's repair shop that was in their turf, and that kind of counted as my jump in, instead of actually being jumped in by other members of the Ballas. That counted because of all the shit that went down. And now I'm here. I've had a couple of minor interactions with other members of the Ballas since then, but not really anything that can top that as my first day. So hopefully in the future I can get more shit done with that, but until then I'm still just a street Balla. Lowly street Balla, but let's move on to the next character. Alright, I know you can barely see her right now, but next character on the list is Jessica Fairhaven. Now, this is the first female character I ever made because I was a little iffy about playing a female character because I don't have any fancy voice mod stuff that some other members do who play female characters. And I was very hesitant at first to really use Jess a whole lot. But eventually, I kind of broke out of that thought process and just started using her more and more often, to the point where she actually joined one of my favorite businesses to patrol as altogether. And she ended up becoming one of my favorite characters to play in general. I've just really enjoyed using this character and RPing as the business that she's a part of. And playing as Jess also is how I met David F., who I mentioned earlier, who kind of draped me to the Banner family. Because Jess is a part of Merryweather Security. Now, I don't know why, but Merryweather security has been my absolute #1 favorite business to patrol as. Because whenever I get in server and I don't know what to do, I just hop on as Merryweather and just rack up hours this way. And I met David through his Merryweather character. And after a couple of days, I guess he liked my RP style because he invited me to join the banners, which have been around for apparently 4+ years. And that's how I started doing criminal RP a whole lot. Now, I haven't used Jess in a hot minute because the last time I patrolled as Merryweather, I was a part of a convoy that got ambushed and Jess got sniped in the chest. And this flimsy little vest she has on didn't protect her worth shit. So technically, outside of this introductory video, she's still in the hospital recovering from her injuries. But now that I'm a media member and it's almost June, I can start using her again. Just probably put her on modified duties, like, you know, guarding the gate at Port St. Cudo and the Merryweather ports to ease her back in, and then I'll start using her just for full-time stuff. Because that's what I like to do as well, is that if a character that's a part of a business gets wounded or injured in any way, then they'll go on modified duties for a couple patrols, especially like G6, because I could do like desk duty at G6 HQ. Merryweather used to have an HQ, but not anymore. So it should probably just be on modified duties for guarding the base or the Merryweather ports and all that stuff. And one fun fact about Merryweather security is that if we ever get the Cayo Perico Islands back in server, Merryweather's actually the law enforcement. They're not like the governing body of the Cayo Perico Islands, but they're the law enforcement of the Cayo Perico Islands, which is why Merryweather vehicles are considered police cruisers, and only people of contact level 6+ can steal them and impersonate us, which is kind of fucking neat. But anyway, that's it for Jessica Fairhaven. Let's move on. Alright, so next up is, well, Jess Sunstrider, the character named after me. He's also the character I used in the first half of this video, kind of driving around doing the intro. But this character actually has 2 jobs. The first one is Roger, Salvage, and Scrap. Because I wanted to drive around a trash truck, thinking that it was a non-official business, it's actually a subsidiary of Roger, Salvage, and Scrap, Little Pricks Waste Collection. So I joined Roger, Salvage, and Scrap, and it's also another business that I am a staff for. I'm actually on the line for the executive team for Roger, Salvage, and Scrap. The owner of Roger's Salvage, Rika, she's been very enthusiastic about me getting on the exec team. I guess because Roger, Salvage, and Scrap is one of the smaller businesses. It's not as popular as like Casey's or Merryweather is or something, so that's that. But Justin Schroeder is also my Los Santos Police Department character. Now, the weird thing is with the LSPD is that it's separated with Metro, Vinewood, Del Perro, Sandy Shores, and Paleto Bay Police Departments. LSPD just kind of encompasses all of that. I'm also just still a probationary reserve officer with the LSPD because in order to be promoted in order to be promoted to just standard reserve officer, you need to ride along for at least 2 months in a row. You need to ride along with another officer, and you need 4 hours of patrol. I've been getting close to 4 hours of patrol every month. It's just trying to get a ride along every month has been difficult because I joined the LSPD as a reserve officer halfway through one of my university semesters, so just getting my bare minimum requirements for activity has been a little difficult. Now that I am out of school, though, at least for the next few months, hopefully I'll be able to get some more ride-alongs and maybe even collaborate with other media partners to get some ride-alongs in as well. Because, yeah, it's just like, I don't know, I'm very hesitant to ride along with people who I don't know very well. Because you never know what they're going to be like. You may not click with the person, right? And then it's just going to be a very awkward patrol. Which is another reason why I haven't been getting my ride-alongs in either. But we'll see what happens in the future. But for now, just a probationary reserve officer rocking the Vic. I'm only allowed to use the Vic and the Explorer for at Proby Reserve rank, and I'll be honest, I am a sucker for the Vic. So you probably will see me use the Vic mostly for the for LSPD patrols. But hey, considering that I am just a reserve officer with the LSPD, I thought that'd give me a chance to like take on a secondary part-time job because I probably wouldn't be getting as many hours as full-time officers. So there you go. And there you go. That's it for Just Sunstrider. Let's move on. Alrighty, next up is Jonny Blackburn. Now, Jonny Blackburn definitely has a bit of a rags to riches storyline, and that's because he used to be my homeless character, and he used to only use a single-player ped, but a Los Santos County Sheriff's Deputy and 2 Del Perro units responded to one of the calls that I made of a homeless individual sleeping in a LTD car wash, and instead of just telling him to get lost and ending the scene there, at least the Los Santos County Sheriff's Deputy took my character on like a fucking tour of the city to get him new clothes, get him something to eat, and even paid for a down payment of this apartment, which, yes, I know it's Floyd's apartment from the single player, but Floyd doesn't exist in DoJRP, so screw it, whatever. This is his house now. And it's like, I can't let the effort of those officers and deputy go to waste, right? And I RP'd that this character lost his job during the COVID pandemic as a welder or something. So after the sheriff's deputy helped me out, I RP'd him getting his trades license back, and now he works with Los Santos Public Works. And LS Public Works is like my go-to business for passive RP. Because I know Public Works does a lot of like big, large-scale roadwork scenes. I'm not personally a big fan of those scenes. I like to RP Jonny picking up a stack of work order forms from whatever fucking hub, depending on the AOP. And he just goes around the city doing little minor fix-it jobs, like billboard repair, street sign repair, stuff like that, instead of big road working scenes, because it's great for passive RP. You know, sometimes cops come over, see if I need help or something, and one time I've even had a couple civs distract me to pop my tires for some reason. So it definitely gets a little action, but most of the time I just like to stick to myself and just kind of do my own thing with Public Works. There's going to be a lot of quote-unquote filler-style episodes like we've seen in ImmersionRP, but hopefully there'll be a bit higher of a chance of getting some actual interaction with other people in server. And who knows, maybe I'll end up sucking up my pride and doing massive roadwork scenes anyway for the sake of like a stream or a YouTube episode. Other than that, there you go. Los Angeles Public Works. Next up is Julian Shen. Yes, named off of Julian Shen from XCOM 2. Julian Shen used to be one of my wildcard characters, not knowing what to do, but when I got when I got when Jack Sunstrider got arrested from got arrested. Well, he did get arrested, but he got fired from Ammu-Nation. Well, Julian Shen took the reins, and now he's the Los Santos district manager for Ammu-Nation. I am senior staff for Ammu-Nation Weapon Store, and it's been a lot of fun. Because not only can I man stores like this one, I could do range training day, hunting sessions, and weapon transports across Blaine County and Los Santos and all that fun stuff. And like I said previously, I kind of open carry as Ammu-Nation all the time. Because the funny thing is that business RP sometimes lets civs go out of their contact level because the charger isn't unlocked till like contact level 3 or 4. Well, if you join Gruppe 6, for example, and you get to guard level with G6, then you can drive the charger. And the automatic pistol doesn't unlock till contact level 4 or 5. But since I am a manager with Ammu-Nation, I can use the automatic pistol for store and transport defense, which is why I have a gun holster on this character and body armor. Because I've gotten robbed enough times as Ammu-Nation that I'm going to be packing the most lethal weapon I can and body armor when I'm active as Ammu-Nation. Because I've been robbed enough times. But there you go. And it seems fitting for Julian Chen to want to spend all this time around guns, considering how he is in XCOM 2. Well, let's move on to the next character. Alright, next on the list is Nova Duskstrider. Now, I haven't actually used Nova all that much since creating him. He's the newest character in my roster here. And that's because I really wanted to wait till I became a media member to start using him. Because I want to do another Rags to Riches story, kind of like Johnny Blackburn. But I want to have him join another criminal organization called the Viper Crime Syndicate. And Nick S. just shivered somewhere and doesn't know why. But the Viper Crime Syndicate is obviously, well, a criminal organization that masks itself as a logistics and shipping company. But the interesting thing is that when people first join Viper Industries, they start as a non-contracted member. And the Viper Industries SOP makes it very clear that non-contracted members are cannon fodder or expendable to them. They're pretty much used as cheap labor. And you need to stand out from the crowd in order to become a contracted member and wear the Viper tattoo on your neck and actually join the business proper. Now, Nova Duskstrider typically tends to just stick to himself and try not to bother anybody. But say if he gets arrested or gets charged with something and he doesn't have the means to pay for it, that'll be like the tipping point for him, which he will then look desperately for something to try and pay off his dues, which will then lead him to the Viper Crime Syndicate, where he will then start to try to work to pay off his ticket or fees for being arrested or something, while also maybe even climbing the ranks of the Viper Crime Syndicate to have a Rags to Riches story. But I haven't used him a whole lot yet. Once I get settled in with media and stuff, or I guess get comfortable with being a media member and stuff, I can start looking to maybe create some RP in that regard. But regardless, that is the end for Nova. Not very, well, it's the end for Nova's segment in the episode. Hopefully not the end of him entirely, but let's go ahead and move on to the next character. Alrighty. Oh, this is going to be something. Well, next up is Star Banner. Technically, it should be Scar Banner first, but I want to use Star Banner to kind of explain what the hell's going on here. Now, David F., a fellow Civ, dragged me into the Banner family after meeting through Merryweather, our security RP. The Banners have apparently been around for 4+ years, and at one point they were so notorious that every time any Banner member would get in server, it'd be like an automatic vest order for all law enforcement, and they even allowed SWAT to ambiently patrol when the Banners were in server. As there used to be another criminal organization called the Sappers, and the Banners and Sappers were at each other's throat in a massive war for Blaine County. And the only thing that stopped it is that a lot of the OG for both gangs just left the community. And David was one of them. David actually plays Clay Banner, who is the kind of, I guess, the unofficially official leader of the Banners, because as an unofficial gang, we're not allowed to have, like, proper rank structure or anything, but the only rank structure we really have is that Clay Banner's the one that's keeping everything together, and if he gets arrested, then chaos ensues, essentially. Obviously, as you can see, she owns 2 vehicles. She has an off-road truck and a supercar. And the reason for that is the Banners are fucking rich. They don't have to worry about money. Clay Banner and his wife Chelsea have like shares, or like they own companies, or they have massive shares in companies, and they just rake in a hell of a lot of money. And they've also had some dealings with the Vipers in the past, but I don't know the whole details about that because I've only been a member for a couple months now. Hopefully things can ramp up a little bit now that I'm a media member, and we have we use a separate Discord server to, like, you know, talk and plan all our shit out, and have a Bluetooth connection through Discord voice chat. And let's just say everybody was really excited when I got accepted into the media team, so things are going to be fucking insane. But I'm going to go ahead and switch over here real quick, because I need to talk about the next banner on our list. And I'm not even going to put a cut in here, because the next character I'm going to talk about is Scar Banner. Scar Banner is the direct twin sister to Star Banner. The only difference being is that Star Banner is the one with like a million previous felonies, and Star Banner is not as aggressive as her sister is. Scar Banner is actually a bartender with over-the-top liquor. So she's one of the few banners that actually has a, I guess, proper, legitimate job that's not money laundering, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, she's the less aggressive of the two. She'll still fuck somebody up if somebody, like, tries messing with her. It just so happens that she has a legal firearm license, while Scar Banner runs around with a 3D printed chromatic micro SMG and a switchblade, which are very much illegal. Man, I originally joined Over the Tap Liquor to have Scar Banner be a dancer, but I don't think YouTube and Twitch will really take kindly to that, so I'll probably just stick with bartending and store restocking duties and stuff like that. So there you go. That's the banners. It's crazy. Their history runs deep, and I'm like barely scratched the surface with that. But let's go ahead and move on to the next character. Actually, I lied. I'm not going to move on to the next character, because that's actually finally the entire list done. 1 hour and 35 minutes later, I am finally done with everything. It's probably not going to be that long of a video for you guys, because I will obviously edit down all the time between setting characters up and all that. But there you go. That is it. So just to recap, most of it's going to be business RP with a little bit of criminal and law enforcement RP sprinkled in there. And obviously, I could join other LEO reserves or other business and criminal organizations as time goes on. But that is pretty much me catching you guys up on what my characters are and what they've been through and all that fun stuff. So I am super excited for this new series. Hopefully you are too. And until next time, I'll see you guys next time. I could have worded that better. But anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.